background. I didn't quite know everything. He surprised me with a few things. But a couple of months ago, he called me at about 10 o'clock at night. He had been on his computer like all weekend, just doing his own research. And he called me so super jacked up, talking so fast and talking so medical field technology wise. I finally had to tell him to stop, redneck it down, and help me to understand. And Chris, you just don't get it. If they have this, it's going to help. If they have this, if this, and this, it's going to help. I said, man, you need to come on and start to share that with all of us. And that's what he's been doing. I've always known him as a physician's assistant, and I knew he loved the nutraceutical field. What I didn't know is that for the first 10 years of his career, he was a research person at University of Baylor medical field. So talk about somebody with 30 years of medical background and experience, the last decade in nutraceuticals, and he's going to help us tonight talk about mitoprime. My friend, Mr. John Bargerstock, how are you this evening, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good. Can you hear me okay?
We can. And hey, first of all, I might have messed you up a little bit. Tell people a little bit about your background.
No, that was pretty good. I'm also a 30-year military veteran. Some of that was spent in the medical arena as well, and part of that in personnel management. For the last 10 years as a flight surgeon for the Army National Guard. Um, so my research background was at Baylor College of Medicine in the molecular genetics department there. So that was an interesting, I guess, 10 years, and that taught me really how to kind of dig in and do real research, not just scan the articles on the forums and whatnot, but where to go to find the legit information. So that's proved to be valuable for the rest of my medical career. But yes, 20 years as a practicing physician assistant, also trained at Baylor College of Medicine. With the last 10 years focusing on wellness, and that of course drives you into finding alternatives to the pharmaceutical industry, which basically means you're looking into the nutraceutical industry, holistic type medicine, and so that has really opened my eyes to just alternatives that basically people are looking for to get better, to be well, to feel better, to look better. And there are tons and tons and tons of these products out there. I've had my hands on a number of them over the years, and in fact, I was part of another nutraceutical company recently, and they had some great products, but you had to use a variety of products to do a variety of things. And so when I went, digging in to this product, it was pretty eye opening as to all of the benefits that you can get from just the mitoprime. Um, I was shocked at all of the things that it does, and I continue to do research, and I continue to dig in and read about different things that this does. I ran across a couple of articles over the weekend that talked about cognitive improvement or cognitive support. Uh, Two of the things specifically that were mentioned were Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease, and for many of us, we a lot of us have aging parents or family members who have died from Alzheimer's. One of my dear friends, his mother is suffering from that now, and so it just kind of makes me wonder if they couldn't have gotten their hands on this product 10, 15 years ago, what would their life be like today? So it's just interesting to see how these products, um, or this product, how I continue to read how it supports the prevention of X, Y, and Z. I don't. I could talk about this forever. There's a lot of things to talk about. So I
Well,
guess
let's run through some questions.
yeah.
Let's run through some questions. And before I ask you first question, I do want to say hello and happy birthday to Dr. Amanda. I know she's watching tonight. So happy birthday to you. And hopefully this is a great Christmas present for you. But John, you just talked about energy. So how does mitoprime help us just with our overall energy?
You know, Gosh, it's, when you dig into the physiologic processes, one of the things that the body craves is something called homeostasis, which is, if you translate that into Latin, it's same status. So the body loves same status. And with that, you've got all these things that disrupt that. We introduce them to ourselves daily, with what we eat, what we do. Um, and so Mito Prime just helps keep all of that balanced in the body. And when you're able to do that, your body thrives. Your body thrives for that same status. Your body's able to do what it's intended to do. The problem is, all of our bodies are able to do those things. We don't give it the right tools to do that. And if we were to simply do that, your body would do everything it's intended to do, and we would all live healthy lives and, likely live to be 120 years old. And, that all sounds great and all, but living that long, a lot, that scares a lot of us because we have, aging grandparents and we're taking care of relatives, and a lot of those relatives are, in nursing homes or in wheelchairs, and we're thinking, gosh, I don't, I don't want to live that way. If I'm going to live to be old, I want that to be a quality life. So this particular product, Mito Prime, I like to say that, if we do the things we're supposed to do, we'll add years to our life. But I truly believe that Mito Prime will add life to those years, and that's important. And I say it in that way on purpose because we want those years to be healthy years. We don't want to just be living to be living. We want to truly live, right? And so, what we give our bodies is it's important to be able to do that. So hopefully that answers your question in an
Yeah. So
indirect way.
let me ask you like a two-part question. So first of all, what does inflammation do to our body? And then how does mitoprime help us with the inflammatory process?
Great question. All right, so let me adjust my screen here because I feel like I'm looking at one of my computers. The videos at the top and this one's at the bottom. So all right, inflammation. That's extremely important. So inflammation is basically the beginning stages of 95% of the disease processes that we know of. That's a huge statement. And if you understand what inflammation does, that's really the thing that disrupts most cellular processes. And once those cellular processes start to break down, that's when the body starts to go haywire. Inflammation is a good thing initially because it creates the response that we want. Is called the inflammatory response, and that's often what heals the ailment of whatever that ailment is. But if that inflammation continues day after day, week after week, month after month, now we're starting to turn on the disease process itself. So if you can slow down or eliminate inflammation altogether, I hate to use the word cure, but that's really how you cure a disease process. You eliminate the inflammation, you let the body heal itself and restore things back to their homeostatic level, and you're kind of back to par for the course. So that's the importance of what inflammation does. And if you've looked at the research like I have, you'll know that mitoprime is a hugely powerful anti-inflammatory. So that's all I need to say right there. If this product did nothing else but deliver an anti-inflammatory response, we would all be extremely healthy. Period. Now you've got all these other things that it does as well, like the antioxidant ability, the cognitive improvement, the DNA repair. So it's blowing me away the more I dig into this. You're muted, Chris.
I got to ask you, man, this is like, topic of the hot topic of the month, right? Gut. How's this going to help with our gut health, Doc?
Gut health. We've learned a lot about gut health just over the last 5 years. There's a couple of YouTubers that I like to watch about this. But the more we learn about gut health, the more we realize that's one of the keys to our immune system. 60% of our immune system comes from our gut health, believe it or not. And people don't realize this. So you talk about people who have, allergies to GMO products or gluten or whatever, and then as most of you guys know who are on here tonight, you know that all of our products are, non-GMO, gluten-free, sugar-free, yada, yada, yada. So again, this is going to help maintain that gut health. Again, reducing the inflammation, reducing the bad bacteria that could be lingering around. And that, again, that ability to reduce the amount of inflammation in our gut. Our gut is amazing in how it responds to what we put through these things we call pie holes in the front of our face. And if you can improve that, if you can give your body the tools that it needs to do that, ergothioneine being the main component of mitoprime, you're going to protect that gut and you're going to maintain that gut health, and that drives so much of our body's well-being.
John, please correct me if you need to, but you were talking the other day how the ergothioneine is just an amazing, piece of equipment for our bodies, and we can get it naturally, right? What was it? We only have to eat 2 wheelbarrows full of mushrooms every day.
Not quite that much, but it's interesting because as I went to look and see, okay, I can get this Mitoprime product and through Your Vitality, because that's the one that has the largest milligram dosage, which is 30 milligrams of Mitoprime ergothioneine in the Your Vitality product. So I'm thinking, okay, if I didn't want to do that, if I hated the flavor of grape, whatever, if I don't like water to mix it with, where else can I get this? So when I looked at the naturally occurring sources of ergothioneine, aka Mitoprime, what am I going to go to the store to buy? So by far, the food out there that has the highest, that I found, the highest amount of Mitoprime or ergothioneine is the shiitake mushroom. Okay, so I'm thinking, all right, well, why don't I just go buy a bunch of shiitake mushrooms and blend them up in a smoothie, or fry them in the skillet, or do whatever. First of all, let me just say, I don't like mushrooms. I never have. I don't think I ever will. So that's, scratch that box off the list, because I'm not going there. But how many mushrooms, if I did love mushrooms, how many would I have to eat to get the same amount of Mitoprime as the Your Vitality? So the answer to that is a half a pound of shiitake mushrooms gives you about 30 milligrams of the Mitoprime ingredient. So, okay, I'm thinking, all right, half a pound of mushrooms. I could probably choke that down if it were mixed with, a pound of spaghetti maybe. But I'm not going to do that every day by far. Not to mention, what's it going to cost me to buy half a pound of shiitake mushrooms? Well, that's about $5 to $6 for half a pound of shiitake mushrooms. So do the math there, looking at $150 a month just to buy your mushrooms if you love mushrooms. So then I thought, okay, that's out. What's next? Okay, now there's the white button mushrooms, again, mushrooms, but it takes about a pound of those to equal the same amount. Now you're talking about $6 a pound for those mushrooms. Now you're at $180 a month. Again, mushrooms out. What's next on the list? Chicken liver. Woo, yummy. Who likes chicken liver? Show of hands. Well, all right. So maybe if I fried it, anything fried is good, right? Speaking of that, the other day when I was over there talking to you, you're talking about how your glucose levels were so steady state. Well, let me just tell you guys, whoever's watching, the other day he showed me his glucose readings because, I don't know, I guess he was really proud of him. I would be too. But again, the same steady state curve that you saw on his phone tonight. And he had just eaten probably a half a pound of fried boudin. Okay. Now, for any of you guys who know what boudin is, it's meat mixed with rice and it's fried. So I had a light batter on it. That's going to throw your glucose levels through the roof, but not with this product on board. It was about as steady handed as I could see on that scale. So what's the big deal? Okay, who cares, right? What's the big deal about glucose spikes? That's the problem with diabetics, because when they eat certain foods, either high in sugar or high in carbs, carbs get immediately converted into sugars according to the blood and the brain. Carbs mean sugar to the body. That immediately shoots a spike up in those glucose levels. And it's those glucose spikes, those peaks and troughs of what sugars can do or carbs can do inside of the body. And that those spikes are what causes all the stress on the body. Okay, all all of the bad things that occur. And if you know anything about inflammation, inflammation loves sugars. That's kind of what feeds inflammation. And so again, if you can reduce those spikes, reduce that inflammation, you're going to be doing great things for the body. So again, back to the chicken liver, which I, absolutely think is disgusting. How much of that would I have to eat per day? Well, 5 pounds of chicken liver per day is what you would have to consume. And a pound of chicken liver is $1.70 a pound, as I looked it up. That's about $8.50 a day. Do that math. You're talking about $250 a month for chicken liver to get what you would get out of a UR Vitality survey. And then the last thing I looked at, just out of curiosity, wheat germ is also very high in the content of ergothioneine. It would take about 14 pounds of wheat germ per day to give you what you would get in one serving of your Vitality. And you're looking at about $90 a day for 14 pounds of wheat germ. So now you're looking at $2,700 a month to eat that much wheat germ to get what you would get from one serving of the Your Vitality and this MitoPrime product. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking I'm leaning towards the Your Vitality over any of that other stuff that there's no way you're going to catch me eating. So it's just amazing at what you can find when you go digging around for it.
So what you're saying is roughly $60 a month or so for a full month supply of Your Vitality. That's kind of the way to go.
I'm certainly leaning towards that way. Yeah.
All right. Well, look, John, what we're going to do real quick is, if we're on a game show, we're going to go ahead and jump forward to the speed round. Are you ready?
I guess so.
We'll come back to normal in a minute, but I mean, let's just be quick. We've got a few questions we want to run through, so you got like 20 seconds to answer each. Ready?
No problem.
First one, will this help autoimmune disease?
It will absolutely help autoimmune disease. We know that for a fact. It's in the literature.
Does MitoPrime interfere with heart medication?
Absolutely not that we know of. Again, no research to support that. In fact, I think, again, giving your body the tools it needs, it's probably going to work synergistically with a lot of the medications, which means you're probably going to have to reduce those medications because you won't need as much of it. In fact, in many cases, you're probably going to be able to come off of some of those medications. Great question.
Someone says, I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Will MitoPrime help me?
A lot of my fibromyalgia, that continues to be probably one of the most mysterious ailments that plagues us. And there's a lot of research that shows that fibromyalgia, again, is caused from inflammatory responses inside of the body, mainly involving our joints. So I would say, again, that ergothioneine or MitoPrime certainly would help support the improvement of that, or even likely support the prevention of that.
Man, you'd win a prize if we were a real game show. I got to tell you that.
Door number 2. I'm going to tell you.
Okay. Door number 2. Well, door number 2 has a couple more questions. So we talk in the presentation, right, about focus. And how does MitoPrime, how does it react with us to help us with that clarity and that focus?
A lot of, even the patients that come to my clinic, one of the screening questions I often ask is, do they have that brain fog or that mental fog, or that, I guess is the best way to classify that. And there's a lot of things that can cause that. So, how do you mitigate that? Well, there's a variety of things that we can do for that. But when you talk about, mental clarity, it's a multifactorial, I guess, thing to consider. So you've got to eat right. You've got to take you've got to get all your nutrition. So part of that, most of that comes from what we eat. There are some things out there that aren't in the foods that we can gather. So, some certain amino acids, for example, some of them our body makes them, some of them our body can't make them. So we're forced to supplement for that. So a lot of, things that help improve focus are blood flow to the brain. And so you think, okay, so how do we improve blood flow to the brain? A lot of, vascular diseases, which impair blood flow, are caused from, again, inflammatory responses on the vessel walls. And so if you can help improve that or eliminate that inflammatory response on the blood vessel walls, you're going to improve blood flow. You're going to allow better production of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a big deal when we're talking about blood flow, which again kind of makes me think about future products that we could be involving ourselves with. But nevertheless, mitoprime is going to help reduce that inflammation. That's going to help improve blood flow, which again in turn indirectly is going to help us with better blood flow to the brain, better focus, more alertness. And who couldn't stand to have some of that?
So John, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at Jimmy Lacey's picture, and he talked about how he had finished a big workout, and he knew on that workout it's usually a day of recovery, but yet he came back, took one of our products, and almost felt like going back to the gym again. We've had a guy on that loves to run 3 miles, but he had to quit because of knee pain. Took our product, went out for a run, and felt like not only finished the 3 miles, but felt like he could do more. My own wife, Debbie, knee had been bothering her for months. Got on the product, knee pain gone. I mean, what is it about because here's the catch to this. These people aren't all using the same product. It's just that mitoprime's in all of our products. So, I mean, how is it helping with the simple body aches?
Again, Chris, it goes back to inflammation. When you talk about arthritis, bursitis, cellulitis, all the itises out there that we all know of and have heard of, but we really don't understand what that means. But when you break down the word itself, the first part of the word generally points to the part of the body that we're talking about. In this case, arthritis, we're talking about joints, and itis translates directly in Latin to inflammation. Bursitis is talking about the bursa, which is the fluid sac that's around the joints. Again, bursitis, inflammation of the bursa. Cellulitis, that's a skin condition, but it's inflammation of the cells on the skin surface. So again, it's very, very simple once you understand that this has a huge anti-inflammatory inhibitor. When you decrease that inflammation, you're going to improve joint pain, you're going to improve skin condition, you're going to improve a lot of things that are affected from the inflammatory response. Again, good in the beginning, but that inflammatory response continues day after day, week after week, month after month. Now we've got a condition on our hands that has to be dealt with through, non-traditional means, Western medicine, medications, pharmaceuticals, surgeries, whatever. So why not give your body some of the tools to help prevent that or slow it down, and just live a healthier, more, well-being, and put your body back in that homeostasis, state. That's what our body needs.
So John, take a minute or two and inform everyone that, it's not like Debbie and I just went into the kitchen and chopped up some mushrooms and found a way to extract something out of it and call it mitoprime. How was this actually, how did this come to be?
I thought that's what y'all did. So yeah, great question, actually. So, one of the companies that we lean on is, the name of the company is NNB. And Holly touched on that. This is a company that's been around for a long time. This is not a company that just cropped up last year. What they have is a patented fermenting process. And in that patented fermenting process, they've figured out how to extract this key ingredient, mitoprime, and basically produce it in mass. And when you do that, you're able to sell it cheaper. So they have this patented process that they've come up with that allows you are worth it, and you are worth it only in terms of the industries out there that do what we do. We're the only one that has it. Okay. So we've got basically our hands on this through NNB, and but yeah, through their 100 scientists that come from over 10 different countries. These guys are pretty smart. They're a whole lot smarter than I am, I can tell you that. And I trust that, when you've got 100 scientists on your team looking at all this, they probably know what they're talking about. So it's their patented process that they've come up with, and that's what allows us to get this in such a high concentration and be able to put it in all of our products, rather than eating the 5 pounds of chicken liver. So so they definitely got it going on there, and fortunately, I understand we're going to be able to tour that facility at sometime in the near future, and we'll really get a bird's eye view of what they do and see that when you walk through that facility, and I'm guessing they're probably going to be in white suits with sticky floors and positive pressurized rooms where, there's the highest level of sterile quality. And speaking of that, I also heard that their facility is FDA registered, and that's a big deal when you talk about nutraceuticals and people that are putting these products together. It's quite an achievement to be an FDA registered facility, which brings me to another point. Actually, a lot of people have asked me about this product and whether or not it's FDA certified. And the quick answer to that is no, it's not FDA certified. The nutraceutical industry as a whole, and when you look at any supplements, none of them are FDA certified. And the reason is because they don't have phase 3 clinical trials. They haven't paid thousands upon thousands of dollars to the FDA to stick their fingers in on that. But I also tell people, hey, look, water's not FDA approved either, and we all drink it and we know it's good for us. Oxygen isn't FDA approved. So don't think that just because it's not FDA approved, that it's not good for you. Now, if you look at the European model, they have approved ergothioneine and myoprime. So it's certainly been approved over in Europe. And as most people know, Europe's way ahead of us when it comes to a lot of the pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, and a lot of the medical studies. So it's legit. And, I'm proud to say that we've got a good company that backs this product and is providing it for us. And I'm certainly willing to stake my reputation and my clinic name on it.
John, it's funny how if you think back, and most of you will have experienced this, you've always had this vehicle that you've always wanted. And all of a sudden, you finally get to the point to where you buy that vehicle, you're driving it now, and you look around, and now they're all over the place. It's like they never were there. It was your dream car. You got it, and now they're all over. And I'm the same way with this. John, I had to go to CVS the other day. And when I was in there, it just caught my attention, nutrition. So why not? So I walked down the vitamin aisle, and there was this one bottle, I have to admit, it was gorgeous. And it just caught my eye. And then I saw the title on it, organic multivitamin. And then it was smart enough to say men's version, women's version, right? So now if the spouse is in there, they can't go home with one, right? They got to go home with one for them and their spouse. So I said, well, let me just turn it around and look at the ingredients. The first thing it had was 6 grams of sugar.
Wow.
In a little capsule, and 9 grams of carbs in a little capsule. Yep. And then I'm thinking, how is this supposed to be good for us when it's full of carbs and sugars just for your vitamin? I mean, it's not even food or nutrition. It's the vitamin. Personally, John, I would have had to take 1 unit of insulin just to take one multivitamin. Yeah. It just blew me away. And then when I think about ours, everything's vegan, sugar-free, non-GMO, dairy-free. It's funny that we say it, but we wanted our health and wellness company to have healthy products.
Yeah.
So last thing I'm going to ask you, did we accomplish that from what you've seen?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love the fact that this product is sugar-free. One of the, again, I talked about how inflammation loves sugars in the body, whether it's through the breakdown of carbohydrates or, directly from processed sugars and a lot of the foods that we consume. So again, look, I'm not going to cut sugar out of my diet. I've got the biggest sweet tooth of anybody. And so, but if I can take something else that's going to help me keep that balance where I can still, be happy with what I'm eating, man, I'm in, and again, a lot of us, there's a lot of tools out there for us to use, but unfortunately, a lot of us don't reach for those tools and use them. Every new patient that comes and see me, I put them on a vitamin regimen, and 30 days later, I follow up. Guess what the percentage is of the people who still are on the vitamin regimen that I told them to go buy? I didn't sell them anything, but I just said, hey, you need to go buy vitamin A, B, C, and D, not truly A, B, C, and D vitamins, but here's the vitamins you need. And I want you to get on those because this is why it's good for you. What do you think the percentages of the people that are still on them 30 days later? It's about 20%. About 20% at the best. And so fortunately, I've got follow-up with these guys. So I'm able to, kind of beat it in their skull a little bit. And I'm nice about it. I don't hit them that hard. But just to reiterate that. So if I've got this product sitting here on my shelf and I can say, hey, look, you need to be taking these products And oh, by the way, I've got them right here on the shelf. I certainly have some samples for you to try. See what you think after 30 days or 60 days. And if you're not sold on them, okay, you're probably not going to be sold on much of what I tell you then, if that's the case, because I truly believe this stuff is going to make a difference. There's certain things that I call, being a difference maker. And with everything I've seen, everything I've read, everything I've heard, this truly is a difference maker. And I'm jacked up about getting people started on this.
So are you ready for one quick little speed round?
Okay, shoot.
Are you ready? Did
I
you,
hope so.
man, I hope you took some Prime this morning, man, because I need you to focus. You must focus. Speed round. You ready?
All right,
If
go.
you are healthy and young, are any of these products too soon to take?
Absolutely not. In fact, we had a question not too long ago about toddlers and infants and breastfeeding mothers. And did you know that ergothioneine is actually found in breast milk? Who knew? But absolutely it is. And so for pregnant ladies or women who are already breastfeeding, absolutely safe. You would have to eat a mountain of this stuff for it not to be. In fact, they've done studies where we were just kind of curious to know, well, how much of this mitoprime is too much. They've done, okay, so your vitality is our product that contains the most mitoprime, which is 30 milligrams, and that's 30 to 40 milligrams is the daily serving. There were studies where people have taken 800 milligrams in a day for several days in a row, not a single side effect, not a single negative anything, with 800 milligrams. So do the math on that. You have to eat 20 of these things a day to even get close to that. And even so, still no negative side effects. So I like to say it's, anybody from 4 to 94 can take this product and probably see significant benefits. But remember, as we age, as most things do as we age, all the good things for our bodies start to decline as we age, including, nonetheless, our body's ability to maintain mitoprime, or in this case, ergothioneine. Ergothioneine is at its highest level in our adolescent years, our teens, from our mid teens into the early 20s. That's when our body has the highest amount. From then moving forward, all downhill. So,
Last question. Any research of it on with hypothyroidism? Can it help?
ooh, interesting. I haven't seen anything in particular regarding thyroid disease, but um, when you think about certain thyroid conditions, some of the things that come to mind because I see them here, um, there's a condition involving the thyroid gland called Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So basically, an inflammatory response of the thyroid gland that produces T4, which is thyroxine, which then gets converted into T3, which is triiodothiamine. Um, that's from an unhealthy thyroid gland. So again, if you've got an inflammatory condition inside the thyroid gland and you can settle that down or quiet it down, you're probably going to improve somebody's thyroid status.
John, I got to tell you, man, that's why I admire the heck out of you. That was questions that were just up on the board. So obviously I couldn't pre-prep you for it. And man, you don't back down. You just tell us the truth. And to me, here's what it tells me. You've done some deep research on what we have. And so Debbie and I, all of us here, we want to thank you for not just joining us, but for stepping up to be a backbone of all of this. I mean, you just went through a whole series of questions asked by the field, stuff that's obviously important to them, make them feel a little bit better. So now sounds like the young man that says he's too young to take it because he's already healthy knows he can stay healthy.
Well,
And everybody else in between. And John, it's just, I can't tell you because you didn't ever tell me, Chris, make sure you pre-screen the questions, you know? And so obviously over our months doing this, some of them have been repetitive. We get that. We have new people joining every day. I just can't wait. Now, folks, here's a cool thing. I've warned him and he's okay with it. I said, John, when we get to the party, you're either going to have to shave all this off so people don't recognize you, put on a big wig so people don't recognize you, or just be prepared for lots of folks coming up to you to ask some questions. The party, ladies and gentlemen, our grand celebration party. Remember, we're going to launch in just a few short days on Wednesday, March the 17th at 1:30 p.m. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you too. And then roughly 5 weeks later on Saturday, April the 24th, we're going to have a grand launch party. We're going to do it in a town called Melissa, Texas, which is right outside of Dallas. So if you're flying in, there's Love Field, there's DFW, and this is at our facility. Now, there's going to be some tours, but just realize our party is from 5 to 8 p.m. on a Saturday. They may or may not be back there making some products, but if they are, you get to see it in action. But they're going to show you some of the equipment that's used specifically to make the products for You're Worth It. Folks, it's going to be amazing. We're going to have some awards that we're going to give out. We're coming out of the gates firing. So we're going to give some awards for those that have sponsored the most, those who gathered the most customers. We're going to recognize the initial set 1 month into it of our top 10 income earners. One thing that Debbie and I know, you got to play. You got to play and have fun. That's a must in life. And unfortunately, too many people let that part pass them on by. They're just stressed all the time, totally stressed. I got to tell you another thing, and John could back me up if he needs to. To a diabetic, stress is the devil. Okay, it can raise our blood sugars between 10 and 12%. Let's see. I'm on the phone all day, sleeping a few hours at night, getting ready to launch a network marketing company in 2 countries while trying to build the network itself, be a good husband, be a good dog dad, visit with my granddaughter locally, contact my son in Buffalo as often as possible, FaceTime with that granddaughter, and you saw my blood sugars. I'm a believer. I sure hope you are too, and I hope you spread the message. We got a lot of work to do, and we got to do it for a lot of years. You heard it from a couple of them tonight, and they're not lying to you. We're starting with 4 products. We ain't done. We're starting with 2 countries. We ain't done. We're starting with a heck of a compensation plan. We'll add to it. And you're here in the beginning. You're the pioneer. You're going to help raise us all the way to the top. Hey, not only is this Taco Tuesday, it's Special Tuesday. So we're going to have another presentation for you here in roughly 55 minutes. Same Zoom link at 9 p.m. Central right now, tonight. So if you're looking at this for the first time, get with the one that invited you. They can email you the application, fill it out, email it right back to them. That gets your spot in line, and send out some text messages, do a social media post, call a few friends, and get them back on the same Zoom link at 9 p.m. Central Time tonight. You don't want to miss it. Folks, it's crunch time. We're launching soon. Hey, God bless each and every single one of you. John, thank you. Jimmy, thank you. Ryan, thank you. Holly, thank you for joining us tonight. God bless you all.